Buildings are a blessing and a curse. Consider the likelihood that right now, somewhere in your city, a new high-rise is probably being constructed. Perhaps in your own neighbourhood, a new house is being built or a renovation is underway. Or perhaps a building is being demolished. These projects produce a lot of waste. Sometimes materials get properly sorted and recycled. Sometimes they end up sitting in scrapyards or backyards or sheds or garages for years, which limits their potential for reuse. But worst of all too often, materials that could be reused just get mixed in with general waste, destined for landfill. This is a symptom of a system that is flawed. Something is amiss when property and construction prices continue to soar, while abandoned buildings sit vacant and unutilised. Buildings full of character that could be restored or retrofitted. That yet we continue to demolish every day to make way for something new and supposedly better and more energy efficient. Often doing so as quickly and destructively as possible, resulting in large quantities of potentially reusable materials being downcycled or wasted altogether. Clearly, we can do better. First, we need to change the prevailing mindset. We need to imagine new uses for old buildings and old materials before assuming that new is always better. That is, we need to think of existing buildings as a renewable resource. Building new buildings using only new materials should be a last resort. Second, we need to change behaviour. The most sustainable buildings are the ones we already have. If we must build new, then we need to design for disassembly from the outset. And if an old building must come down for whatever reason, we need to make mindful deconstruction, not demolition, the default way to go about it. In other words, we need to consume less and wreck less instead of being reckless. Third, we need to change supply. We need to make it easier for people to find quality, reclaimed materials and beautifully upcycled goods. This should be as easy as walking into any local shop or hardware store. In order for that to happen, we need to empower people with the infrastructure, incentives and tools to make salvaging and storing materials much easier. And finally, we need to change demand. It's one thing to make something accessible and convenient. It's another to make it aspirational. People don't tend to associate the diversion of waste with art and design with places like art galleries and museums. But maybe it's time we change that. People gravitate towards creativity. Unfortunately, creativity is what's largely missing from the conversation about waste. There are innovators out there leading the way, elevating the diversion of waste to an art form, creating awe-inspiring places and projects that exemplify the concept of the art of diversion. We're simply asking, why not make this the norm instead of the exception? We believe that by shining a light on more projects that creatively divert waste, that captivate the imagination, we can shape demand, so that people will talk about, share, ask for, and eventually insist upon more sensible alternatives to needless destruction and landfill. We believe this is the key to making our local communities less wasteful and a little more inspiring in the process. We're ready to roll up our sleeves and create, out of reclaimed materials, something different, something beautiful. Are you? We invite you to join us on this journey. Help us rethink the lifespan of building materials. Help us make our vision for a more beautiful, less wasteful world a reality. Together, we can make sure that creativity and materials are beautifully unwasted. Head to artofdiversion.com to learn more.